This is show number, Ruth. What is this show number?
This is 672.
672. And today we're just going to highlight what's happening in Las Vegas right now and the amount of construction that's moving in here. And I actually read an article this morning about real estate in Arizona as well because of the massive migration out of California and what's happening down there. But I apologize if everybody can hear this like rumbling sound in the background here. It's I'm getting my pool finally acid washed and the final step before I fill it up this summer. So that's exciting news. So I apologize for that. But before we get into what's happening in Las Vegas, Ruth, what is happening in real estate?
Well, let me hide you and put this up so we can all see it. And I'll put myself in the corner. There we go. So October, we sold 137 homes a day, which is fantastic. And we just listed 136. So that makes me very happy. And I always talk about the churning. We're churning, we're selling, but we're listing. So there's always new product available for people to look at. And we have about a month's worth of inventory, 27, 28 days. I don't see that changing anytime soon. Even over the holidays, I think it's probably going to stay like that. That's just my prediction. We have about 3,158 single-family homes available right now, and 238 closed yesterday. We put 76 under contract, and we listed 116 single-family homes. Of those 116 single-family homes, 45 of them were 400,000 or under, for a total of 781 homes that are 400,000 and under. And the significance of that is that's about what renters are going to pay in rent for when they could buy a home for the interest rates that there are today for that price range of home. And the only other thing I want to tell you is, the $1 million homes haven't changed much this year. 4 to 4.5 a day are being sold, and we maintain around 500 available. So that just stays kind of static. But for a day, $1 million homes, that's a lot. That's a lot. And I'm going to bring you back. Ooh. And there you are. Okay.
Yeah, that is a lot. I actually have one of my favorite homes up in here, the northwest part of town. It looks like a castle. It's a mini castle. So it's like a very rare, kind of unique property that I believe, I forgot who owned it, but they bought it in 2017. I guess it sold for $2.5 million, which everybody thought was ridiculous. Now it's up for sale again for $4.5 million. So
yes,
a nice little profit if they can get that. It'll probably come down to right around $4 million or even 3.75, but still pretty nice rise in price for that house.
Well, and of the 500 available $1 million homes, there's I think there's 10 of them that are over 10 million.
Oh wow.
Or 9 million, yeah. And the top one is 32 million, which we talked about before.
Right. And Gene Simmons' house is still up for sale, right?
Yes, and I think Steve Wynn is just in the process of listing his house again for 24 million.
Oh wow!
I don't know if it went on the market the past couple of days, but it was definitely on the news.
Got it. Well, interesting.
But the interesting thing is, this list of 61 homes that are between 2,200 and 2,400 square feet for rent in Las Vegas. And the rents go from $1,800 a month down to, or up to $5,800 a month, but the mid-range being around $2,300. And so if you rent that home, you have to come out of pocket with the first month's rent. So let's make it easy, $2,400. Mm-hmm. And then you have a security deposit of $2,400. So now you're up to $4,800. And then you have a cleaning deposit, and then you have a key deposit. I mean, you're looking, over $5,000 to rent a home, right? And there's some programs out there where, you can get a low down, or what should I say, a small down payment home. And Jimmy Dag, he's funny in class. He says, if you've got relatives that are renting, tell them to go borrow money from a relative because It's ridiculous to pay that much more in rent when you can have home ownership and build equity, and the prices are not going to go down. They say, buy real estate and wait. Don't wait to buy real
Exactly
estate.
right. No, I mean,
So,
the tides are turning right now. I mean, it's already turned. We saw that coming out of the last year. At the end of last year, home prices are not coming down
nope.
anytime soon. All right, there's just too much money and liquidity out there right now, chasing too few assets, and real estate's one of those assets that people historically have run to in order to beat out inflation, which we're experiencing right now. So as long as interest rates, I mean, that's the key though. Interest rates need to remain fairly low, and it doesn't look like it's going to move for another year. So
Right.
at a minimum 12 months, we're going to probably still have the same type of environment that we have right now, and possibly another year, maybe a year and a half after, simply because interest rates are not going to rise rapidly to a point where things get out of control. So the Federal Reserve is probably going to take their time, and so we'll see though. I mean, but I don't know if you posted it on Facebook or I saw another real estate agent posted it. It's like you can't really look at the home price, because no one, for the most part, no one plops down $400,000-$500,000 in one shot, right? I mean, that's very few people can do that.
Yes.
Majority are looking for financing. So if you're going to finance any part of your property, I mean, you got to look at the interest rate and the payment. And they said, like, even if prices decreased by 100,000, but interest rates increased by 2.5%, you're basically at the same place.
Exactly. Yeah, you're going to build, and you have to buy less home.
Right, and you probably have to buy less of a home.
We actually talked about that. Yeah, that was us. Right. We talked about that. Yeah.
So unless it's an investment property, right? If you're looking to buy to live in, price really doesn't matter, because you're going to be in there, 5, 7, 10 years. So that's a long time for markets to change and stuff like that. So.
Yeah, and I mean, I just listen to the statistics all the time of how much the population's growing, how many people are moving around, how many investors are coming into the market. Like we sold 137 homes a day in October. Well, of those, 45 of those homes were bought by investors, and so that's about 32% of our market. And so you have investors continuing to buy because they know rents are going to continue to go up, as we just talked about. And so the investors are buying in at a low payment and getting nice cash flow because of the high rents. And I don't see that changing too much with them having 32% of the market. And we're going to look at who is the 32%. We're going to look at that today. I have a list of who owns what and what percentage they own. So
right, maybe I can tee you up. But here's the question: I haven't done any research on it yet, and I haven't dug deep into it. But maybe in the community it's being talked about. But apparently Zillow, over the last 2-3 weeks, announced that they're stopping buying at this point. Well, have you read the articles or what's going on there? Any thoughts?
I don't. Yeah, I read the articles, but I don't see the reason, and so I don't trust Zillow. So I don't care what they say. I don't believe it. I look at the numbers, and I have the ability to go in and see how many homes they're buying, and the slides today are going to show you how many homes they're buying, and they might take a rest, but they're. Mm-hmm. And the only reason why I think they might take a rest is they turn their money. They have some type of a formula where they'll buy so many homes to rent. People think that they're not going to hold on to these homes, but that's not necessarily the case. In some parts of the country, they are holding on to the homes and they are renting them. In other parts of the country, they're turning them. So when you start holding on to the homes, your cash is in that home. But then now we find out that of course, they're in bed with lenders. So they can now refinance that home they just paid cash for and get the money back out. So I think that there's something going on with their money flow. And you would know more about that than me because you're the money expert, but the money flow expert, I call you.
Right. Interesting. Yeah, I haven't really read too much deep into it, but it was just interesting to see that headline this week or last couple of weeks here.
And Las Vegas is just growing by leaps and bounds. If you look here, we have 139 people moving to Vegas every day. Last year, the average was 130. That's 5.8 people moving here every hour. Are you still there?
Yeah, I'm still
Okay.
here.
Okay. Yeah. So that is quite a statistic, I think.
Yeah, that is a big.
Yeah, and we're selling and we're selling 137 homes a day.
Right.
139 people are moving here, and eventually, I'm sure a lot of these people are renting. They're going to become buyers at some point. So, or there's just that flow of keep coming and keep coming. Investors can buy. The new people will have places to rent, or they'll buy, and we'll continue to have. We're building, and people are like 1/3 of our population is retirement. Well, unfortunately, those people don't live forever.
Right.
So there's turnover there in 1/3 of the market. And I don't like to say that, but because it sounds cold, but it's just it's a part of the statistics.
Yeah, it is. It is. I mean, we're going to see probably a massive kind of like a transfer that's going to happen here in the next decade here, where there's going to probably be a lot of real estate, obviously because people are getting older, and because our population here in Las Vegas is that demographic.
Yes.
There's going to be some turnover, some opportunity for sure.
For sure. Yeah. And people love Vegas. They just love Vegas. So here's the population growth by state. I mean, we're number 3. What can we say? We're number 3, and we're small. So we've got a lot of room to grow. Now, I'm tabling the water issue. I know that's an issue, right? But I also know when we get further into these slides here, you're going to see how much is under construction. And I have to think that there's some plan that we don't know about. Maybe it's that we all have to get rid of our grass, because I think it's like almost 80% of our water is used to water grass.
Right.
And a lot of the golf courses are going to, different types of grass, so that, and the other thing about golf courses is they do reprocess their water. It's called it's potable or non-potable.
Yeah, non-potable reclamation water or whatever.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
and
Yes.
I don't know if you're going to show this statistic, but I also read in our gaming revenue.
I'm going to show that.
Casinos.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
I don't want to spoil it.
We're going to get there. Right here, look. The gaming revenue, $993 million. That's almost $1 billion.
That's August.
Yeah, that's for August, right?
Yeah.
And in May it hit $1 billion, right?
Yeah. In September, the number. Do you have the September number or?
No, not yet.
No, well, yeah, September number is $2 billion.
Oh my gosh!
I
can't wait to see that.
or $2 billion in gaming revenue.
Wow.
So it looks like the industry is back.
Yeah.
And they said that's actually the best ever in Vegas for the gaming industry.
Oh my gosh.
So, we're
and Max, where's the visitors? Where are the visitors coming from? Well, in 2019, 47% of them came from the West. Now it's 63%. And if you add all this up, because it does equal 100%, look, 14% were coming from Europe. Now only 1%. So I don't think that's a bad thing, actually. I think more of our local Americans are coming here. So I think that's a good thing. And a lot of that's coming from, well, let's see, what is that? 2% are coming from the Northeast. In 2019, now only 8%. But the big jump is in our Western states.
Yeah, because it's driving distance for a lot of these Western states, and if they can't go, if you're not going to Europe and they're not traveling, on planes, they're settling for Las Vegas because we have all the amenities.
Yes, yeah, and people, like you just said, I'm bringing that up. Just what you said, you've got ESP today. 58% are driving, where it was used to be a little less, but that has increased, and that's why you see the increase in the local states coming to Vegas. And then this one, I want your insight on this one, Max. Las Vegas visitors who traveled with someone under 21. It's never been 27%, but in the past 5 years. So what does that mean?
Who knows? I don't know if Vegas is going to take a look at this statistic here. If it continues to trend this way, they'll probably bring back the family oriented theme that they try to start in the mid 2000s,
Right.
late 90s,
Yeah.
early 2000s. So who knows? Maybe at this point, you know, this might be the side effect of not being able to go, on family vacations elsewhere, right?
Right.
So they got to go somewhere, and if they want to drive somewhere close and they want all the amenities, and
Here they
they're going to
come.
come here to Vegas.
Yeah. And the age, the interesting thing is that hasn't impacted the age of the visitors too much. Well, maybe it did. 2019, it was 46, now it's 42. So I guess it did impact that.
More younger people. Look at 3% are between 21 and 29.
Yeah.
So that's a big increase over 2019, which was only 16%.
Yeah.
That's a huge increase. So
Huge.
millennials
That's a good thing.
hopping on the train here.
That's a good thing. So if we go back here, something so this says traveled with someone under 21, okay? And 27% of the visitors. But then when you look at this doesn't even address the under 21. So the mean, so that gives more credit to what you're saying about the millennials, because this isn't impacted by the people that are under 21, because
Correct.
The 21, yeah. So you're right on. You're right on. The millennials are coming. The millennials are coming. So, and here's the interesting thing too, when we talk about spending, look at the shopping. I mean, the shopping numbers almost doubled from 2019.
Wow.
I mean, isn't that incredible?
Right. Shopping, $312 per visitor.
Yeah, that's amazing. And
that's pretty incredible.
Yeah.
Well, that actually doesn't surprise me. I mean, especially a lot of people were spending money last year, even in 2021.
Yeah.
The places that were like, I was at Fashion Show Mall in, I think it was September of 2021, and it was packed. Yeah. With masks and stuff like that, but people were out spending money. A lot of stimulus money last year.
Yes.
Overflowing into this year, apparently.
Yeah, I mean, that's surprising to me. And the food and the drink is $376. Wow, that's huge. That's huge. All right, and then
I look at that, I'm like, how? I don't remember putting a budget together and spending. From that slide alone, it looks like you're spending like $600, $700, $800 on non-gaming activity.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, shopping, transportation, food. Yeah.
Yeah, the shopping one is amazing. And then let's see. Then next we have the investing in the future, and this is where when I talk about the water issue, you just have to table that. Mm-hmm. These people must know something, because I mean, the commission is the Planning Commission is allowing these things to occur. We've got 62 projects, and that's not just gaming. That's all over the valley for $20.3 billion in total costs. And of the 62 total projects that are they're not all under construction, because they're still, being engineered and things like that. And infrastructure is probably an issue that they're addressing now. But 29 are under construction for $7.5 billion. These numbers are just outlandish.
Yeah,
but Max, what do you think? I mean, the Planning Commission isn't going to allow all this to go on if they think we're going to run out of water.
Yeah, I mean, that's above my pay grade, Ruth. But they're going to have to do something, right? So that is an issue that's coming up more and more. I'm actually hearing some clients of mine bring that up here locally in Las Vegas as well. Yeah. So, I think they're aware of it, and they're going to have to do something. And you're right. I mean, they're not just going to let Las Vegas, one of the growing metropolitan areas in their country that drives a ton of revenue. The second, the largest city or from a revenue standpoint in the state of Nevada, just go basically to the wayside here. So I mean, they're going to do something. It's either they may slow down building at some point, right? That may be in the future, or they're going to do something else. and hopefully, maybe we get a couple winners here where it's favorable for that kind of help solve some of these issues here.
But remember, almost 80% is watering the grass, and that's something that's easily stopped.
Right.
I mean, when I see my water bill go over $100 a month, I know there's a leak somewhere, right? But if all of a sudden they start charging you more for the water that you're using, people are going to think about artificial grass. We're thinking about putting it in our front yard, definitely in the next 6 months. Because I do my jogging every morning. I walk past my front yard and I see that water and I'm thinking, oh my gosh, I don't need that. I don't need that. I could have artificial. And then I walk past all the houses that have artificial grass, and it looks lovely. They've come a long way with the artificial grass.
They've come a long way. It doesn't look from far away. It doesn't look, too bad. And if you do a good job, just like interior decorating, kind of put some other plants that don't take up, as much water around it. Yeah, it ends up looking pretty nice. Yeah, I get a neighbor in my neighborhood that did just that. She had a bunch of smaller plants and then a patch of artificial grass in the front yard, and she has the best front yard in her neighborhood right now. So.
Okay, it doesn't. So it doesn't. Applied analysis didn't show, for some reason, perhaps non-disclosure. I don't know. They didn't show all the tourism projects that are underway. So. Just saying, because I don't know why. And then of course there's the MSG Sphere at the Venetian. I bring this up because that's I'm very intrigued by it, because it's new technology, and I think it's going to be quite a draw for tourism. Yeah,
you can clearly see it on the Vegas Strip or behind if you're going on Paradise here. So it looks an interesting venue. Yeah, it'll be interesting to see. And I don't know if you have any of these slides here, but they're actually moving forward with the train, right? Coming from Victorville to LA or something like that. Yeah. So, I think they're starting to move. It's more serious than it's ever been right now.
Yeah, right.
So that's going to create some traffic as well to Vegas.
12,500 additional hotel rooms on the docket. That's amazing. And 1.125 million square feet of additional convention space. What I'm amazed, Max, is how Vegas never slowed down with all these projects for the most part. When I saw that they were still continuing to do the underground electric cars, and add on to the convention center and doing at the time when there was no conventions booked. But people have vision, obviously.
Right. Well, yeah, the world doesn't stop, right? That's these companies, and they're projecting out 5-10 years from now, not necessarily what's in front of them. So, and they're also building the underground subway now from the Raiders Stadium, to the hotels. So there's going to be plenty of ways, and there's going to be a lot of venues and events happening at Allegiant Stadium, which because of this extra access that they're trying to build. So, 10 years from now, 5 years from now, right? This city could be a hub, and if we end up, winning over the Oakland A's, this will be a full-fledged sports town.
Yes.
We got hockey, and if everyone's following, I think this is what you're talking about next. Every sports team that comes to Vegas ends up being winners. Yeah. That's just, we got the Knights went to the Stanley Cup Finals the first year. We got the WNBA Aces team doing very well the first year, and now the Raiders are 5-2 without a head coach.
Yeah,
right? So
really. Yeah, and this is other things that are going on that are bringing money, people, investments, growth to our city. And I see that they have the NFL draft. I guess they're bringing that back. Remember, it was supposed to be, and then we had the pandemic, and then they
right. I think 2024 is when they said they were going to bring it back to Vegas.
And that's around the corner.
Right, already. 2021 is pretty much behind us at this point.
Yeah, what, 60 days left? Yeah, that's pretty much behind us. And look at that packed stadium. That just amazes me.
Yeah.
Have you been to a game?
I have not been to a game. So I'm not a huge football fan. And for me, I don't like being in crowds, and that's a big crowd.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna wait. So far so good. Raiders fans have always been notoriously rowdy as a bunch. So I'm gonna wait to see if any headlines breaks out. But eventually, my son will probably want to see a game one of these days too. And the stadium's incredible.
Yeah, it is. So applied analysis and all the research, and they've been doing research for 30 some years, ever since the 90s. I got in real estate in 87, and I think I met Dennis Smith, he started applied research along with the other gentleman, Aguero. And it's just amazing to me how accurate they always are, because they are true, what do I want to say? True analytical company. They really do their homework. And they say tourism will return, recovery will be asymmetrical, and it's Vegas, baby.
Yeah, I mean, tourism has not only returned, it has returned. I mean, yes. According to the numbers here, tourism is, if not better than prior to the pandemic happening. So better than 2019. Revenues are way up right now.
Way up. Absolutely. Absolutely. Let's see. I think that was my slides. Let me make sure. Oh, I wanted to briefly go over just this one. So people always want to know about evictions and things like that. These are filings, not necessarily people that were kicked out of their homes for not paying rent, because we really didn't have that many. And now look, I mean, when the directive was over, look how much it went down. People started paying their rent.
Yeah.
And I know,
because people start to realize, I mean, you got to live somewhere.
Right.
You can't just, right? You can't just skip out on your rent and think, the next owner or the next apartment complex or whoever is going to just overlook that and say, sure enough. So
yeah, one of the things that we've done for some of, and we have a property management business, and one of the things that we've done for many of our owners is got them money for when a renter didn't pay. And a lot of people that we talked to neglected to do that for their owners. And we helped them because, if their owner isn't local, a lot of owners aren't local. And so, they didn't realize that there was CARE. I think it's the CARES Act, right? Where they could go and apply for money that their renter didn't pay. And we are, of course, involved because they need verification. And I mean, we got somebody $25,000 back. That's a huge amount of money.
Yeah, that is a huge amount of money. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, because I think with the CARES Act, if the renter had to be involved too, right? I believe like they had to apply.
Yes.
But once they applied, if they got it, then the owner also got it as well.
Yeah. So that was really, the evictions we didn't think were a bad thing. And then look at this. The homes in Vegas with negative equity, 1.3%. That's almost nothing.
Yeah, it's, I just look at this chart and go, man, I wish I'd have bought more homes in 12, 13, and 14.
Yes, don't we? That's
right.
True. And then this is the share of home sales by cash buyers. And it's 32%, which is right on with my stats that I said today. So right there's a 32%. And that's a big cash buyers, investors are a big part of our market. Yeah. And
that's huge given the price increase. That's surprising to me that it's on the rise with the price increase on the rise like that.
And here's something that I want. This is like one of the more interesting slides for me anyway, is the ownership distribution. And 81% of our homeowners are residents, single home ownership, right? And then 2 people owning a home. Now that's probably an investment, right? 3 people owning a home, almost 3%. 4 to 9 homeowners, again, those are groups of investors, 4%. And then this is what I call the true investor. And they really, they have 4.5% of our home ownership, but they own 10 or more homes. So, and here they are. These are the big guys. Invitation Homes is across the country, I believe, is number one, not just in Vegas, but across the country. They have more investment properties than anybody. And then I'm not familiar that much with Progress or this one. First Key, I hear a little bit about that. Tricon, I don't know that much about that. Of course, this is the side that Open Door are really buying a lot of homes. You can see that, and they're renting them.
Yeah. Interesting. They bought one of the houses in my rental neighborhood for $525 in the summer or the spring of this year. Held onto it for like 3-4 months. Put it back on the market they tried to get $550, but it ended up selling for $525 again, which is weird.
Yeah.
I don't know the logic behind all that. I don't know the accounting behind all that. But that was just a side note, that interesting tidbit that I saw.
Yeah. And Zillow owns 193 homes that they're not selling. So I'm going to be particularly watching that number the next couple months. Yeah. But, across the country, it's normally 19% of home ownership is investors. And we fit right in there. Real snug right into the statistics. So, yeah, nothing, people were panicked. People were panicked when they learned about the information. It wasn't that this has not been going on. It's just that people started, started becoming a topic in the news and so on and so forth. So people are like, the sky is falling, and it's not falling. It's been like this for a long time. Yeah.
Yeah, no doubt.
I do a whole show during the week when I do my tips for the real estate agents about, contacting the non-owner occupied investors, and perhaps sending them a CMA or a market valuation saying, look, you've got this equity. Maybe you want to sell this home and buy 2 homes, things like that. There's a lot of opportunity here for real estate agents to tap into this market as well, now that they're aware that it is such a big chunk of the market, and these people do buy and sell real estate.
31%, right? You said of the transactions are happening with investors. So, I mean, that's a big chunk. And if you own in this environment, right, a lot of people are looking to either upgrade or pull some money out to buy another home. And seeking it. It's just harder to find a deal right now. But even at the current rates right now, with rents going up the way they are in town, I mean, you said it. What was a median rent? 2,400 or 2,300? You said.
Well, to be specific, based on the
square footage home, right?
Yeah.
Right. So the home
about $1 a square foot.
Yeah, about $1 a square foot.
Yeah.
I mean, even at a $450,000 house, most investors probably will put 20% down. Their mortgage payment at these rates are like $1,800, $1,900, and if they can get $2,200, $2,300, $2,400, I mean, this is one of the best times for cash flow we've ever seen in a long time.
Right.
And people are raising rents too every year. So, and renters are paying.
Well, renters don't want to move because there's not a lot of selection.
Right.
I mean,
61 homes, you said, right?
61 homes, right? Yeah.
I mean, that's not for 159 people, 139 whatever people moving here to Vegas every day.
Right.
61 rental homes is not a lot of homes.
Right. So, and that's in that sweet spot there, not the total market. So, there's this is like the average asking rent right now, but this includes condos, apartments, single family homes across the board, $1,219.
Mhm.
Yeah. And you can certainly buy a home around that area again, because you've got to put money down. Um, you don't have any tax benefits. And the average renter in 5 years, their net worth is 5 or 6,000. And the average homeowner's net worth is over 125,000. And in 10 years, the average homeowner is 250, their net worth, and the renter doesn't change. It stays at 5 or 6,000. So these are things that, talking points, that sound bites that real estate agents need to be talking to people about buying homes. Home ownership is great for our economy. I mean, it generates so much business.
No, absolutely.
Yeah.
That's why, what do you say, like 90% of millionaires, a majority of them, end up making their money through real estate. So
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. So that is just about.
I wanted to get your thoughts on this week. Obviously, Facebook changed their name to Meta.
Yes, they did.
But here's the one tidbit that I got, especially specifically for real estate agents and anyone actually marketing to the older demographic. That one of the reasons why Facebook is looking to change their branding is because Facebook is now aging, and what they mean by aging in the social media world is actually the users are getting older and older, right? So that perfectly aligns with people who actually own homes right now, right? So I mean, the older crowd is getting onto Facebook, staying on Facebook, and so that means your target demographic is on Facebook. Now it's almost getting to that mature age right now, and you need to start utilizing Facebook, from a marketing standpoint more so than ever, because we probably have another 5-6 year window here until something else comes out, or the attention moves to another platform.
Well, one of the things that Mark Zuckerberg talked about, I think I posted his hour commentary on my group page, and he's looking into the future. He shows pictures of me and you in a hologram environment, looking at a house that's also 3D hologram.
Mm-hmm.
Like this, on the screen like this, but like we're just talking to each other, not like side by side, but more looking right at each other and talking. And he sees that as the future for many businesses, not just real estate, but for many businesses. The virtual reality, the artificial intelligence is, I mean, it's everywhere. And of course, they bought Oculus.
Right.
Facebook bought Oculus
6-7 years ago.
Mm-hmm. And they have in this presentation, he shows people with glasses, and you're not looking at a phone. You're looking at it right in front of you, just like a screen right in front of you. It's just amazing what he sees.
I'm just thinking about hopefully that doesn't turn into people driving with that looking in front of them.
I don't think people will be driving. It'll be automatic.
That's true.
I mean, my car right now, if the car gets too close to us, it jerks over automatically so that the car doesn't hit us. So, and I trust my car. Yeah. We drove to California and back, and it was just, it's almost like autopilot anymore because our car's just a year old. So we have all those newfangled, I mean, it's a computer, basically. We're driving a computer with gas.
Pretty much right now. That's what the majority of cars are. That's why there's with this chip shortage that's going on, right? That's why there's not that many cars on the road, because all the cars require these chips now, because they're basically computers on wheels.
Well, yeah. So, Max, interesting times we're in. Since 2019, I've seen the landscape change 180 degrees. It's just amazing.
2 years can change. I mean, we're pretty much living in an entirely different world right now.
Yes, we are.
So that's how quickly things can happen, and that's why you always got to be prepared, right? You got to look at where attention's moving and where opportunity is moving. And right now, it's moving more and more so online, virtually. I mean, that's why Zuckerberg is doing this. Is this meta universe is trying to put us into a place where we probably won't ever need to leave our home anymore, right? And if another outbreak happens, we can still do commerce, right,
Yes.
from home.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
In a virtual environment, right?
Yes.
Which so interesting times. I mean, the next decade is going to be very interesting. Technology and productivity is going to probably explode again into a different world. I mean, AI and machine learning has been on the like under the whispers here for the last decade, as these big companies with big data are trying to utilize the data to create this environment. And we're probably going to start to see it come to life here in the next 10 years.
I agree. I think 5 years. I think, the snowball gets bigger and it goes down the hill and just collects more speed and gets bigger as it goes. And I always, to me, that's technology. It was started out as a little snowball on top of the hill, and it's just going to grow and grow and grow and go faster and faster and faster.
Yeah, no doubt. So what's happening this week on training, Ruth?
On Training Wednesday, we're having our law class, and it's a new law class. It's called The Attorney General is on Line 1. It is so interesting. Jimmy created this new class because we wanted our own law class. And it is fun, interesting, and you get 3 CE credits. There's not a lot of new law classes out there. I think many of the creators were waiting to create a class based on what the legislature was going to do. But the law class is more about that. The law class is about being in compliance and following the rules and the guidelines and staying out of trouble.
Okay, fantastic.
Yeah.
Fantastic. So what day is that and how do they sign up?
That's Wednesday, and you go to bee.vegas. And when you go to bee.vegas, you can look at the calendar and you'll see the other classes. We offer at least one a week in all the core classes: agency, law, contracts, and ethics. So we've got everything that you need. We continue to fill up our classroom and do very well with Zoom. You can Zoom, which is really cool. You don't have to leave your home. If you're going on vacation, you can still Zoom and take 3 hours of CE credits. And now it's increased from 24 to 36 hours. So,
Yeah, so get your training done early.
Yeah.
Get down to that deadline.
Right.
All right.
Well,
any last words, Ruth?
No, just everybody have a wonderful Halloween. We didn't even address Halloween today. We kind of did last week. And unfortunately, Cammie couldn't be with us today, but we'll have her back. And she's writing her scripts for the horror films. Very interesting. Absolutely. And a couple other things coming up between now and the end of the year for Saturdays. So,
yeah, you got it. So, yeah, happy Halloween, everybody. Tune in on Monday morning at 9 a.m. for Ruth's Daily Show. And we will see you all